We will wait to see if some folks show up. Hey friends, welcome. We have some people filtering in, it looks like. Hope you're all having a great Sunday. Hello, hello. Let me know in the comments who's here, if you would. Excellent. Hey, Brent, what did you find on the sale? Anything good? Chaz made it in. How are you, sir? I was just catching up on some of your videos this morning. I saw that you're working on your new book now. That's cool. I have your first one. I just haven't gotten around to it just yet. What is up, Zen? How are you today, sir? Good to see you. A lot of books. That's good. It's the first in the series. A lot of times they do those sales and it's like the 10th one in the series. That's no good. Cool. Well, I appreciate folks showing up. I'm sure others will filter in potentially, but no big reveals or anything today. Just wanted to go live and just say hey to some folks and see what is going on. Oh, okay. Yeah. How did you like the first Red Rising book there, Zen? I like it, but it is by far my least favorite in that series. Busy day. Oh, okay. So your son goes to the U of A. Excellent. Jason, what's up, man? Good to see you. Cool. Well, I appreciate folks for showing. It's very nice of you to help support the channel. Just wanted to give kind of an update of my first week of this craziness and let you know what is on tap for next week. And obviously, as we did last week, there's open Q&A whenever you want. So that's good. That's good. If you liked the first Red Rising book, I think you're in for a really good time because I think most in the fandom, myself included, say it's by far the weakest in that series. Cool. Well, I am 2 books in to January so far. So I did complete Shadow of the Torturer, which I know Brent is also working on right now. I have sort of a placeholder for a review out there, but it's a hard book to review. It's a hard book to describe. It is very, very clear why Wolf is thought of so highly in author circles. The dude is an incredible wordsmith. Some of the best prose I've ever read, and I like to think I'm a bit of a snob when it comes to such things. So for him to be high on that tier list is impressive. It's also clear that there's a lot of subtext and a lot of underlying meaning and messages that I didn't get, which is why I'll have Rockio on the channel to explain that stuff to me and help me see what I've been missing. But at least so far, with the first book in tow, Severian is a really cool character that I'm really enjoying. I always really like first-person retrospective, which is why Sun Eater is a favorite of mine, which is why Kingkiller is a favorite of mine. Obviously, Fitz and all of his series are favorites. So anytime I can get first-person retrospective, that's my favorite type of storytelling, and we have that here. So that is good. And there's a really cool sword, and I like really cool swords. So It has it has the elements that I like, along with a ton of confusion. So yeah, I would say if it's a series you've been putting off and you have interest in, like I had, it is definitely worth checking out. Um, and again, obviously more to come with that, so that is good. The other book that I've read so far was book 2 in the Gray Man thriller series that is by Mark Greaney. I really enjoyed the first Gray Man book. I read that last year. I very much enjoyed this one, Aren't on Target, Gray Man number 2, even more. It introduced a character named Hightower that I really, really like, and I'm told will be in the series more going forward, so that is great. And I like Jay Snyder's narration a ton, so that series is going super well. Book 12 in that series comes out this year. Crazy that he has so many in that series, and that means I've got a lot of fun reading coming up, so I'm excited about that. We have Can't Decide What to Read Next. Continue with Sanderson after rereading Mistborn Era 1. Check out Red Rising. Start Song of Ice and Fire. Start Sun Eater. Too many books to choose from. Probably a bias here, but I would say if those are your choices, Song of Ice and Fire, it's a good time to start. Again, a bias because I'm part of that read along, but it is a really fun series to read along with people. And if you could start that now, we do our first live stream over on Joanna's channel on February 4th. So if you could start Game of Thrones in between now and then, would be a good time to start it. Excited to hear more, unfortunately. That's all right. Thanks for dropping in, Chaz. I super appreciate it. Thanks for dropping in, and have a great day. Hope your son is able to get back to college and get what he needs done. Okay. Yeah, Red Metal, that is a non-Gray Man standalone about a hypothetical World War III with Russia. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'd like to check out his other stuff, along with eventually get into his Clancy stuff, but I have to catch up on Clancy first. So, yeah, there's a lot of Greeny, I think, left in my future, which is not a terrible problem. The other thing that I started on a lark, which I didn't really have an intention of restarting, I'm rereading Ashes of Man again. So I just read this in, I think, October or November, and I'm a quarter of the way done with this reread. So on Wednesday night, I'll be on Jordan's channel. Jordan at iWizard is the channel name, talking Ashes of Man. And it started with me just kind of looking through yesterday over my highlights and my notes and stuff like that. I'm like, nah, I'm just going to reread the whole thing. So I didn't have access to Rukin's narration the first time around, and I do now. So I'm really enjoying this reread. That's really okay. His Clancy books are better than Clancy's own later work. Okay. I know I read some stuff that he started working on the Clancy stuff, and the family was very supportive of that and him continuing on with it posthumously. So that's really interesting. I have watched some Clancy movies, but never read any of the books. So one of these days, I think I have. Excellent. I hope you love it. Song of Ice and Fire is my favorite thing. I love a lot of things, but Song of Ice and Fire is definitely my favorite thing. So I hope you enjoy it even half as much as I do. Chadia, good to see you again. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. What are you reading these days? I don't know what you're focused on right now. Are you yeah, let us know what you're reading. Actually, everybody, let us know what you're reading right now. It'd be cool to see what everybody's reading. I know Zen just wrapped up Red Rising. I know what Brent's reading, but beyond that, I don't know what everybody is reading. So let me know in the comments. Tell me what you have going on. I hope everybody enjoyed the first week of January with the videos that I published. I sort of had some of them planned out. I sort of did it a little bit off the cuff for a couple of them. But so far, this will be the 8th video in a row, 8 out of 8. So that is feeling good. I haven't I haven't caved in just yet. So that is good. Let's see. H.C. Newell's Curse of the Fallen. I'm not sure what that is. Yeah, I'll have to check into that. Yeah, the Keymark Readathon started a couple of days ago. Andy's server. So I am on Madison's team. Excuse me. Pros Before Hose, which I still think is the funniest team name ever. So I don't know exactly what I'll be reading for that, but I'm going to try and get full credit for the team. Yeah, Brent had reread it prior to mine. About 40 pages left in Shadow of the Torture. Cool. Also reading book 2 in the Void trilogy. Ah, sweet. Yeah, I will be starting on the Commonwealth later this year, and I know a couple other people like Kellen are reading it right now and really enjoying it. So that has me excited. Ah, excellent. Just finished Wolf of Princess, reading Justice of Kings, and then an Assassin's Apprentice reread. Fantastic. Fantastic. I really loved my reread of Farseer after going through all of Realm of the Elderlings. That was a lot of fun. Indie author who advertised her book on Keymark, and it sounded interesting, so I decided to give it a shot. Oh, okay. I will have to take a look and see what it is all about. How far in are you? A Little Hatred. Man, I love the Age of Madness trilogy. It's so good. It is by far my favorite thing that Joe has done, and I love everything Joe has done outside of the Shattered Sea trilogy. So, and I don't hate that, but it definitely is very, very low on the totem pole for me. I don't like the Shattered Sea trilogy very much of the 2 of the 3 that I've read. And you're getting into Of Blood and Bone. Awesome. Cool. Just started. That sounds good. So in terms of kind of channel plans for this week, oh, sorry, one more thing. After this, Jade Setter of Janloon. Okay. I still need to get the Greenbone Saga. I really hope you love The Legend of Blackjack. I had a great time with that book last year. So, yeah, it is a lot of fun, especially for an old school Narnia fan like me. There are some nice nods and stuff like that. And then it's on to a Hob reread. Fantastic. I will always be supportive of that. So speaking of rereads, I think one of the things that I would like to line up here in the coming week or weeks is I want to do a top 10 reasons I love to reread books. And I've started to kind of think through some of the reasons for that. So I will keep you in suspense for now, but I think that will be fun. I've started to put together a video that everybody else did at the end of last year, which is the books that I'm most looking forward to new releases in 2023. Thankfully, none of them have released yet into 2023, so I figure I can do that video without too many problems. And beyond that, the well is already running a little bit dry, but I will figure out what to talk about, I'm sure. So I'll have more stuff to do. I will be doing my dedicated review of Shadow of the Torture. That I plan to come out on the 14th, so that'll be this coming week. And I think I'll have to check the calendar, but I think the movie A Man Called Otto comes out this week. So I may do a video about differences between the book and the movie. I also did watch the Swedish subtitled version over the course of last week, which I thought was quite good. So I'll be interested to see how different it is from the book and from that movie. So look forward to that. Love rereads. I've just been hesitant to reread Hob because I don't want to be destroyed again. Yeah. But all the cool kids are doing it, and I didn't want to be left out. Yeah. Yeah, you just kind of know going in that it is going to be emotional turmoil, and that's just that's part of the experience. So, I'm pretty black-hearted and dark, so I'm okay with her trying to hurt me. That's no trouble at all. Feels like yeah. That was one of the things. I did a quick video yesterday, I guess, on stats, and about a quarter of my reads last year were rereads, and already I'm rereading books this year. So there is the danger of getting sucked into that wormhole where you're simply rereading and you never get to new stuff. And while I typically only reread stuff I really, really love, which means that the rereads are going to be really, really good, it also means that I'm not stretching myself and not finding new stuff. But it happens. What's coming. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, it's tough to explain to someone who hasn't read Realm of the Elderlings what they're in store for. So it's a difficult concept to wrap around, that you're just gonna be in emotional pain for most of it, and that's just the way it goes. My little meme that I always do is, I'll say, well, things are going pretty well, and then Hob will come in and say, well, we can't have that. So that's typically what I think of when I read any Hob book. I am looking forward to the Soldier Son trilogy this year that we're doing in June, July, August, and interested to see if it's that same type of thing. I'll never understand this, Zen. I like Molly personally, and I think she gets better as the series goes. But I know you have explained to me the reasons, but I really, really like Molly. I do have some tag videos to do, that's for sure. But the last tag video I didn't do very well, so I don't know how interested people really are in them, but it's all a matter of scale, I guess. I think a video does really well when it crosses 200 views, so what do I know? Yeah. Too much time has passed. Okay, but I guess I'll be yeah, I reread for various reasons. I like to reread if a new book is coming out in a series sometimes. Like when Stormlight 5 comes out at the end of 2024, I'm certain I'll have reread the first 4 Stormlight books by then to refresh myself. I, was going to do the reread of Red Rising regardless, with Lightbringer coming out this year, whether Mike was doing it or not. So that was going to happen. So I reread for various reasons, but definitely when a new book in a series that I love is coming out. Yeah. I actually had planned at one point to reread both The Stand and It this year, but I don't know if that's going to happen. The Stand, it's been a long time since I've read, and It I did primarily via audio, just kind of a little bit at a time over time while I was reading other things. So I don't know that I got the full benefit of it the first time. So both of those I look forward to rereading. I'm just not sure if that'll be this year or in the future sometime. And I definitely want to do 11/22/63 again. That's my favorite King novel. 100% agree, Chadia. That is correct. Okay. How are you liking the audio for Wheel of Time? I don't particularly enjoy Kramer and Redding, but I know a lot of people love them. Yeah, I'm old, Zen, and the whole concept of shipping just isn't. I'm too old for that. I don't. I'm gonna be 44 here in a couple weeks, so I'm too old for the whole concept of 2 people shipping. That's not my thing. Yeah, that's probably true. I do like the It audio a lot. It's Steven Weber of Wings fame. He's really good. Yeah, that's true. Cool. I've kind of gone off script in terms of my reading. I didn't plan to restart Sun Eater, Ashes of Man, book 5. I didn't plan to do the Gray Man Volume 2. Everything is just off kilter, but at some point I'll get back on script, hopefully. I did sort of start Winter King. I got about 15 pages and I am really enjoying it, but I started Ashes of Man, so I'm going to do that first. Correct. 1979, the very best year. That is correct. Yep. Um, yep. Well, cool. I'm trying to think what else. If you do have ideas of things that you would like me to cover or to do, I am happy to take any of them under advisement. Uh, I could certainly use some help with the idea generating with a lot of month left to go and not many things to talk about. So let me know if there's anything you want me to cover. Let's see. Haven't heard Reading yet, but Kramer is not bad, but he's not really what I would call great either. Either way, I'm cheating with the audio. I don't. What do you mean you're cheating with the audio? I don't consider audio cheating, but what do you mean by cheating with it? I think, and this is going to sound bad, but I think what I would have liked to have seen done if they were going to split the audio like they do in both Wheel of Time and in Stormlight Archive, I would have liked for Kramer to do the male voices and Redding to do the female voices. Again, I know that sounds bad, but neither one of them is very good at, in my opinion, impersonating a voice of the opposite gender. I just don't. It never sounds good. Especially Redding doing male voices is just awful, in my opinion. So, we shall see. Cool. Yeah. Tell me what questions you have. What comments? What can I address? What can I talk about here? Who has things? I mean, yeah, I guess I still don't consider that cheating. You're doing audio while you do other things, which is fine. It's a way to be productive and to consume stories while you're doing other chores and whatnot. I think most of us that love audio do that, so that's fine. Thoughts on Malazan? Yeah, I completed Malazan Book of the Fallen in 2021. It was my other big series I did besides Realm of the Elderlings. I am a big fan. I must say, it is in my top 10, just barely, fantasy series. If you go back and check my top 10 series video, which I think I may redo that video too as part of this. There's been some movement, but in any case, I haven't read much beyond the Book of the Fallen, so I haven't done the Corbeline Broach novellas. I haven't done the Carcanus stuff. I haven't read the new one of the Witness trilogy, and I've done limited E&C Esselmont. I've done like the first book, The Knight of Knives, of his novels of the Malazan Empire, and I've done two of the Path to Ascendancy novels. So I am certainly not an expert when it comes to Malazan, and you could tell that by the way that I say it, and I won't change the way that I say it. That's just how I've always said it. But I do really enjoy it. I think sometimes it gets overblown how difficult it is to read. It is, but not for, I guess, some of the reasons people think that it's difficult. It's multi-layered. There are things that are hidden from the reader until Erickson chooses to reveal them. So it requires a little bit of patience and sometimes a good memory, but which I don't have either of those really. But I still like the series. It's a hard thing to tell, like to encourage people to read. I'll say that. I think you have to be a certain type of reader to really appreciate, get the full benefit from it. But I think the people that do enjoy it really enjoy it. The people that don't like it at all can nope out pretty quickly. I think if they aren't on board, at least I think by book 2, Dead House Gates, they're not going to be on board. Would be what I would say. Sorry, I lost track here. What do I think of the Cubs off season? So some solid moves. I saw they just picked up Hosmer for pennies or relative pennies. I am still unhappy with the fire sale of a couple years ago, so it's going to take a lot to win me back. But I think probably about a B minus, C plus, somewhere in there. I think the biggest problem I have is that they let Contreras walk straight into the Cardinals clubhouse. That is a big problem for me. I would have liked to have seen him re-signed especially instead of going to the team that I hate more than anything else in this world. So, all in all, I think they'll be better this year, but that's relative. It's going to be a while before they contend again. I haven't. I don't like worst book videos. I have this problem. Outside of people that I watch all of their stuff, like I watch Mike's worst of video every single year. I think there's Jake Bishop. I'll watch his worst of video every year, maybe one or two others, but I really don't like them. For a couple reasons. One, invariably, one of my favorite books winds up on that list, which again was the case this year. With I think was it this year? No, it was 2 years ago. Mike put Assassin's Quest on there, and I know it doesn't detract from my reading experience to see someone else hating a book, but I still don't like hearing about it. And two, I like things positive. I would rather hear about what people love than what people hate. I don't know. There's enough bitterness and hatred, I think, in the world. I want to have some light here and there. It's a good question, but I don't know, unless people are desperate to see it from me, that's ever something I would want to do. Top 10 coolest swords. I could do that. Matt at Matt on Books has already done that video, and I would certainly link to his video and give him credit for it. But there is probably merit to that. I don't know if I've read widely enough to have a top 10 in that case, but there's definitely some ones that spring to mind for sure. Let's see. Oops. One sec. Worst of 23. Yeah, good from a quality, themes, etc. standpoint. Erickson's writing style makes it extremely unfun to read. It's hard to argue with that. There are certainly times where I was not enjoying myself going through some of those books. That is for certain. I never really felt it in Gardens of the Moon itself. I really like that book. Toll the Hounds is a massive book, but I loved pretty much everything to do with that. I also really like Midnight Tides a ton. That's maybe one of my favorites, Memories of Ice. But there are other books, especially parts of Deadhouse Gates that just drag for me. Certainly parts of House of Chains that drag for me. Dust of Dreams, I didn't like at all. I didn't have a good experience with that book. So it's sort of a mixed bag, but yeah, it is. I think the way it's been explained to me is this type of writing is more common in literary fiction than it is in fantasy. And I don't have a ton of experience, obviously, in literary fiction, but for people that do, I think they pick up on it a little bit more. Hey, Paramita, how are you? Good to see you. Where's favorite? Yeah, I've started and stopped that list several times, but yeah, I should do that one. I sort of know what my top 5 is, and then from there I have trouble forming the next few. But yeah, no, that's a good idea. I should definitely do a top 10 character list. Top 10 characters who have suffered the most. I think some of them would be pretty obvious, but yeah, that is an idea. I could probably do that. What do I like besides fantasy? I like sci-fi. I'm into thrillers a lot. I cover some nonfiction on the channel, historical fiction. Favorite authors that I recommend. Yeah, I was going to do a top 10 authors list too, but I'm a big Stephen King fan. I love Robert McCammon. I got into Frederick Bachman a lot this year. Obviously, I'm a massive Hobb fanatic. Christopher Rocchio is someone I would highly recommend. Gene Wolfe, so far, only one book, but I would definitely recommend him. Beautiful prose. For thrillers, I really like Jack Carr the most, and Mark Greaney is moving up that list. I like him a lot. Um, kind of, I was a big Crichton fan when I was a kid. Any of his stuff is pretty good. I read a ton of John Grisham as a kid also, so I like him. Yeah, it's kind of an endless list. I'm a big Sir Arthur Conan Doyle fan. I love the Sherlock Holmes stuff. So yeah, there's a lot there. There are many authors that I love. Yeah, Brent loves the worst of as much as I dislike it. So maybe I would do one just in honor of my friend Brent. I don't know. Let's see. That is true. There is value to what you're saying there, Chadia. I know for certain when some people that review books that say this is awful, I immediately will read it because I know that our tastes are so divergent that there's a good chance I'll love it and vice versa. RJ, what's up, my dude? Good to see you, man. Hope all is well for you over on the other side of the pond, my friend. Historical fiction recommendations. Matthew Corbett series by Robert McCammon is what I was reading last year, and hopefully will continue this year. A big fan of that. I've only read one Ken Follett novel, but I really loved Pillars of the Earth when I read that a long time ago. That would be a recommend. So far, I'm only a few pages in, but Bernard Cornwell is a recommend. I like what I've read so far of The Winter King, but other stuff has just gotten a little bit in the way of that. I'll get back to it. But yeah, that seems like a recommend. I haven't read a ton other. I did make a video on the channel about historical fiction. That's a priority that I want to get to, so you might check that out. Yeah, there's a ton of different stuff on there. I will be reading, buddy reading with Kyle from Read by Kyle. We're doing a Giles Christian series this year. The one that starts with Blood Eye, I think is the name of the first one. I think it's the Raven series. So we'll be doing that sometime this year too. Brideshead Revisited by Evelyn Waugh. I don't know what that is, but I'm sorry you're not liking it. Yeah, hopefully you can find something else to read instead. Let's see. That is correct, Zen. 100%. If someone has not read Sun Eater, they're doing it wrong, and they should drop everything and read it immediately. That is correct. I have a strange relationship with this world. I have tried the start of Guards and didn't really love the writing style. It wasn't working for me. Kind of the same thing with Mort, because those are the two places people say to start. I read, or at least listened to parts of Going Postal, and that one, at least the humor was working for me, but I didn't get very far into it. If I was going to start with anything, I think I might start with that one. Overly Average Ben, that's his recommendation for a place to start. So I guess if I was going to do anything, that might be the one. But I think it's more likely that as great of a writer and as well respected as Pratchett is, he just may not be the author for me, which I know will upset people. But again, that's why I don't like doing most disappointing or worst video or that kind of stuff, because I don't want to rain on anybody else's parade. Let's see. Yeah. I at some point will read some more Mark Lawrence. I don't know when that'll be. I did read the first book in the Ancestor trilogy, Book of the Ancestor, I guess. And I know you really like that as well, Brent. So I read Red Sister and I liked it, but I didn't continue on. That was kind of a couple years ago when I was doing a lot of book ones and not continuing. So it was like that and Malice and something else. I DNF'd the first book of Broken Empire many years ago, but I may really like it now. I don't know. When I read it, it was sort of a, well, if you like Abercrombie, you're really going to love this guy. And I didn't see the parallels at the time. So probably expectations more than anything else. But I could tell in reading Red Sister that he obviously is a very good writer. And I know that Hobb really likes his books as well. So, she praises his character work and stuff as well. So that should be a good enough thing for me, but I just have to find time to do it. Yeah, Hellmouth was really good. My only complaint about it was that it was too short for me. I would have liked for that, instead of being a 90-page novella or whatever, excuse me, to be like at least 150, 200 pages. It was really good. Excuse me. Yeah, great book. Yeah, I think that might be part of my problem too, Zen. I like to go through an author's whole catalog if I can, and I'm not reading 41 Discworld. I'm not gonna do that. So, um, I've heard it compared to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy in terms of the humor and stuff, and I love Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but I didn't see parallels personally when I read them. And I know that there's again deeper meanings and social commentary and all this kind of stuff, but I think it just may not be my cup of tea. Okay. Yeah. I had mentioned this one last week. I think. Yeah, I had that Priority Fantasy series video that I put out about the Wars of Light and Shadow. And I think maybe that's a concern I have, is that I'll enjoy it, but I won't fall in love with it. And it's hard to commit to 10 books of a series when it's good, but not one of your favorite things, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it sort of depends on if there's enough there to motivate you to keep reading. If you think it's going places that are interesting, it's probably worth continuing. But if there's other bigger priorities, then I would say shelve it for now, and maybe if you feel drawn to it again at a later time, you can always come back. Let's see. Yeah, it sort of goes one of two ways with Assassin's Quest for people. Either they really love it and it's their favorite in the trilogy, or they really hate it because of the pacing. And I'm somewhere in the middle. It's not my favorite; it's my least favorite in the trilogy, but I still love it. Um, and I think sometimes kind of the what I would consider the message of that book is lost for people because they think it's just um, people trudging along in this group and whatever. But for me, that book is all about Verity's sacrifice to the kingdom and to the six duchies. So for me, it really hits emotionally for that reason, because I love Verity as a character. But I think for some people that doesn't hit the same way, or at all in some cases. So sorry, minor spoilers. I guess Verity makes a sacrifice for the six duchies. But I think most people here have read it, so maybe that's not a big deal. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm glad you like it as well. I've read it 3 times now, and I liked it more each time. And I also think it's the book that Assassin's Fate does the most to retroactively make better, in my opinion. Because I'm on record as saying Assassin's Fate makes each of the 15 books preceding it all better in retrospect, and that one especially. Okay. Yeah. And how many of the Discworld books have you read, Chadia? Is it one you're kind of reading by sub series, or are you going in order, or what's the kind of mixing them in as you go, or what's the plan? How are you doing it? Well, no, I don't think there's a way to read something right or wrong, Paramita. I mean, some things just aren't for everybody, which is okay. You know, just because other people love something doesn't mean you have to, and vice versa. So I wouldn't worry about it. If you are worried about it, you can always reread it. But if you're not wanting to reread it, just maybe it's okay that you didn't like it as much as some people. That's fine. No problem. Probably. I mean, that's fine. I love that Alan loves Discworld. He has his series. For me, those three things, I guess, at this point, are A Song of Ice and Fire, Realm of the Elder Ones, and Sun Eater. Those are my things. Those are the things I talk about constantly. So everybody kind of has, their idea of what is best for them, I guess. So, Alan can yell at me for not liking Discworld, and that's fine. I would tell him, that's okay. I don't mind that you're upset about that. Correct. Yeah, and that's fine too. Hitchhiker's Guide, for whatever reason, really works for me. And it makes me laugh. So I like to laugh when I'm reading. That's probably why I'm a huge Abercrombie fan. But yeah, for whatever reason, the humor hits for me, and it isn't going to hit for everybody, which I understand. Let's see. Sorry, let me catch up here. We've got a lot of comments to catch up on. That's good. Sorry. Just trying to find where we left off here. Only read Farseer so far. I liked it, but didn't love it. And that's common for people to say that on their first read of Realm of the Elderlings. I've read it 3 times now and loved it more each time, but I get it. Matt is here. Hey, Matt, what's up, man? Yeah, Matt has me very, very excited about a couple of books and series after he has reviewed Lord of Light. I really want to read that by Roger Zelazny. And the Black Iron Council or something like that, the Legacy of Black Iron, something like that, by Gareth Hanrahan. That's a series that I really want to get to because of how much he enjoys it. And do subscribe to his channel. He's great. Yeah. Skip and Rainwell. Yeah, if Assassin's Apprentice was your favorite, I don't know if it makes sense to reread it or not at that point. There are a lot of people reading it right now, so there's people to talk to. But again, there's a lot of books out there. You don't have to talk yourself into loving something if it's just okay for you. Yeah, Curse of the Mist Wraith. Got postponed. Yeah. Yeah, I was looking forward to their discussions. That was one of my priority series last year, and I actually started Curse of the Mist Wraith in January, but put it down because I wasn't vibing with her writing style. But I need to, like I said, give it another shot. That's all right, man. I appreciate you dropping in. Thanks for dropping by. I super, super appreciate the support. Yeah, I mean, the movie is not, I think there have been a couple of adaptations and they're not very good, but it is what it is. Yep. Yeah, I get that. I sort of like quest fantasy, so I never had a trouble with that. When I was younger, I read a lot of Shannara and that kind of stuff where there's a lot of traveling, a lot of questing. So that is never a big problem for me. There are aspects of sort of the questing and traveling in Five Warrior Angels as well, although, not to as big of an extent, but I guess that just never bothers me. Third Fireseer read. So I reread. Yep. That was what I did in 2021 is I reread Farseer and Live Ship. I'd read those previously. Kingdoms of Death is a rough book. Really, really rough. And I love it. It's my favorite in the series. And I'm the only one, I think, that would say it's his favorite in the series. I think I've maybe seen one other person that liked it as their favorite, but it's rare. The good news is it doesn't get much happier in Ashes of Man. So if you're looking at a reprieve, I don't know if that's going to be the case. Possibly. Not everyone's going to love Live Ship regardless of how they feel about Farseer, but I think arguably, and I would probably say this, I think arguably Live Ship is the best trilogy she's written in terms of technical expertise and care. It's not my favorite, but I love it. It is not far away from being my favorite. I think it's an incredible series. Let's see. Sorry. Man, you guys are great. I got all kinds of stuff to catch up on here. Let's see. Sorry. Still sad about Winds or Fire and Blood 2. Anything? I read A Song and Ice and Fire. Okay. Yeah, it's obviously my favorite series. I read Game of Thrones, Clash of Kings, and Storm of Swords for the first time in around 2000, 2001, somewhere in there. So I have been loving this series a long, long time. And I tend to be pretty patient when it comes to authors. Like I don't control when stuff is published. I haven't paid for anything yet. So whenever I get them, or if I get them, is kind of how I look at it. I also am very excited about if he ever comes out with the conclusion to Fire and Blood. Excuse me. There is a lot of storylines that I would be very interested to see. I would love to know more about the Mad King in his younger years and that kind of stuff that I hope we get at some point. Let's see, what shall you say here? Read Small Gods first, and then all the watch books. Okay, cool. Yeah, I thought I would probably enjoy the watch books, which is why I tried to start with Guards, and I probably didn't give it a fair shot. But first few pages, I just wasn't invested, wasn't vibing. So I'll give it another try at some point in the future, probably. Yeah, Rockio is definitely fueled by his readers' tears. That's correct. Let's see this ranking. We've got Game of Thrones equal to Storm of Swords, greater than Dance, greater than Feast, greater than Clash. Yeah, that's fine. My personal ranking is Storm first, and then Clash, and then Game of Thrones, and then Dance, and then Feast. No, probably Feast before Dance. But I love all of them. It's splitting hairs, really. Outside of, I think Storm of Swords is just significantly, easily the best one for me. And I say that not only as an entry of A Song of Ice and Fire, I literally think it's the best fantasy book ever written. That's where I rank Storm of Swords. So, I haven't read it, so I'm not sure. I don't know if anybody else would comment on that. I guess. Well, I've read 150-ish pages. Nothing comes to mind for me in terms of a series I would compare it to. I've heard her writing compared to Erickson's, and that it's kind of multi-layered and stuff like that. But I didn't really get that out of what I read so far. Correct. Interactions between Fitz and the Fool, interactions between Fitz and Night Eyes, yeah. Kettricken is great in Assassin's Quest, in my opinion. Yeah, there's a lot to love there. I agree. Yes, I did. I finished Lonesome Crown a couple weeks ago, I guess. Week and a half, something like that. Amazing. What a fantastic ending to that trilogy. He constantly kept me guessing. I had no idea where these characters' arcs were going. I think he masterfully wrapped up that trilogy, and I love Five Warrior Angels. So that is definitely a candidate for a future reread, no question. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. I like fiction that hurts me because I like in general to be happy and positive. So I can kind of explore the painful side of nature when I have fiction, so that's all right with me. Nobody hurt me, to answer your question. I've lived a relatively charmed life. I am no complaints whatsoever. I had a great upbringing, very very fortunate. So nobody has hurt me. I don't have any complaints in that realm. Looks like we might have an answer for RJ. Let's see. Read the first 3 books. Nothing to compare it to that comes to mind. The story is familiar, but the writing style is really a strength. I would agree with that. Yeah, I don't know what it is about her prose style, but something about it just comes off as sort of purplish prose, if that makes sense. A little flowery and a little unnecessary at times, in my opinion. But again, it could just be that that I haven't gotten used to it yet, and I need to give it more time. And Zin is echoing that purplish prose I've ever seen. Okay. Which is great. Howling Dark is an unbelievable book that does some things that I have not ever seen done. And that I will say was the point where I was hooked on the series, because I really enjoyed Empire Silence the first time around. I loved it more the second time around with more context, but I really liked it the first time around. But when I got to Howling Dark, my mind was blown, and I knew this was the series for me. So I 100% can get on board with that. And also Demon in White. It was up there with it was my favorite non-Hob book, I'll say that, in 2021 that I read for the first time. It would have been my book of the year when I was doing one author at a time if I had not read Assassin's Fate. And probably Fool's Fate would have been ahead of it as well. But Demon in White is incredible. That is correct. All of the books are 5 stars in my opinion, but again, I also have a pretty heavy bias. Okay. When will I be starting Game of Thrones? It sort of depends on when I get some other stuff done. I have about, I don't know, 350, 400 pages left of Ashes of Man on that reread. And then I probably should prioritize getting The Winter King done, and then I'll probably start Game of Thrones. So it really just depends on how quickly I read stuff. The Ashes of Man reread I'd like to have done by Wednesday, because I have a discussion on a panel on Jordan's channel, iWizard, that evening. So I would like to have that done by then. And then I don't think The Winter King will take me a huge amount of time, maybe another 2 or 3 days. So I think we're probably looking at, by next week, I should be into my Game of Thrones reread, hopefully. Yeah, I was kind of waiting around to see. I know they're releasing some new ones on audio. I know that Andy Serkis was commissioned for some of them and different stuff. Who are your favorite narrators in Discworld? Is it all one person, or do they mix and match? Yeah, let me know. Yeah, that is a good take, certainly. Night Eyes and Kettrick being the best parts of Assassin's Quest. That is hard to argue with. I agree. Yeah, I agree. Weird comparison. I think the person I heard that from was trying to say that can be difficult to kind of suss out what's going on, and it's multi-layered. But I agree, they're really not comparable. Let's see. It is. I agree. Fire and Blood is fantastic. I read it on release, and then I reread it last year. I love Fire and Blood. And obviously, I am a massive fan of House of the Dragon as a show. I think they adapted it beautifully. So I look forward to more and more of that type of content. A deep thing. Don't pay attention. You could be rooting for a villain, but it seems extremely obvious. Okay. Theo, what's up, my dude? Thanks for coming, man. I hope you are having a great day, sir. Cool. It was good to see you, Brent. Thanks for coming, man. I super appreciate it. I let Brent know I was going live today, and he's like, yeah, I already got the notification on. I'll be there. So I appreciate it, man. Let's see. Cool. Well, I appreciate that, man. I don't know that I'm more cool than Game of Thrones. I don't know that I would make that happen, but I am super stoked for you to get to this for the first time. I I'm so glad that you are joining in on this, and I'm hopeful that you are taking part in some of the discussions because I would love to hear what you have to say about it. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Yeah, RJ, you finished. Let's see. Where were you when you stopped reading Malzahn? Are you on Midnight Tides, or are you further along than that? I thought I remembered you doing. Um, I think you're done with number 4 at least, but I don't know if you got Midnight Tides done or not. Yeah, Keeble is great. I have listened to a little bit of immersively of the Winter King so far, and as advertised, he's fantastic. I was trying to think of his name last week. I was like, yeah, the guy that narrates Warlord, and I couldn't even think of his name, but yeah, Keeble is great. Yep. Simon Vance is one of my all-time favorite narrators. I'll never understand not wanting to give George money. And you do understand that if you buy an audiobook, you are giving the author money, don't you? But all good. Yeah. Vance is definitely a favorite. He's on my Mount Rushmore of favorite narrators. Cool. Yeah, I've heard great things about Lions of Alrasan. I've heard great things about really everything that GGK has done. I will get some of his books into my diet soon. You should join the Grimoire Discord. Yeah, I'm on there. I'm maybe not as active as I could be or should be. I am so busy on Mike's Discord that I don't, even the other ones that I'm joined to, I don't spend a lot of time on, but all good. Nope, no problem. That's all right. You said it's good? It's good. Yeah. So I've talked about this before, but I can talk about it again. I never look at it as an author owes me anything as a reader, and people get upset when I say that because they feel like I'm downplaying their emotional investment to something, and I'm not, because I want that stuff just as desperately as they do. But I also understand that they're making art. They're not. This isn't an assembly line. There's no blueprint necessarily. And when you have authors that are like Martin, that are like Rothfuss, that are not architects, they're gardeners, they're just going to see what happens and often do a lot of rewriting, that kind of stuff. It's going to take a long time. I will agree that Rothfuss has not handled it well. He has certainly not been gracious to fans that have asked. Often in good nature, they'll ask him how things are going, and he's been known to lash out at people, which is terrible behavior. I don't like that. I don't like what he did with the donations that he was asking for as part of his charity, and he promised something that he's never delivered on. I don't like that. So I don't like a lot of what he has done. But ultimately, if I get Doors of Stone, great. If I don't get it, I'll just have to be happy with what I've had so far. And I love King Killer, so there's a good chance that may be what I have. It is what it is. So finished or unfinished doesn't make any difference to me. I know I'm maybe different in that category than a lot of other people, but it doesn't increase or decrease my enjoyment of something to know whether the story is ongoing or finished or whatnot. But yeah, I get it, but I'm maybe unique in that sense. On Midnight Tides, thought it was done. Okay, cool. I actually really love Midnight Tides. I love To Hole and Bug, but I know some people are just annoyed by them, but I find them hilarious. So I'll be interested to see how that book lands for you, but it's definitely one of my favorites. Let me know when you're going to do. Yeah, I'm not sure when that'll be, but I will definitely let you know. That would be a fun buddy read. That is definitely one I'm super looking forward to. Let's see. Hey, what's up, Scot? How are you? Good to see you. No such thing as late. If you're here, I am happy. I I appreciate anyone dropping by. I did this sort of just on a lark. I needed a video for today, and I was hopeful that it wouldn't just be me here sitting talking to myself. So I appreciate everybody that dropped in. Thanks so much for being here. Yeah, that's fair. Chapter a day. Yeah. Yeah, it's good to see that works for you. Yeah, Tahol and Bug are definitely an interesting pair, and they always make me laugh when they're on the page. Even when maybe humor isn't what he intended, I still laugh. They just make me laugh for whatever reason. Sweet, yeah. Serentine Mosaic obviously was number one on my list of priority fantasy, so it is one that I definitely need to get to. I've got other stuff that I have to get to first, but it probably almost certainly will happen this year. So I look forward to it. Cool. Well, we're at the hour point, so I won't hold everybody too much longer, but any last minute questions, anything I can answer for anybody, anything recommendations for me, I am happy to take any of those before we peace out for the day. But I just want to once again thank everybody who took part in the stream. Makes it a lot easier and better when I have other people to talk to on this. Let me just catch up on these. Yeah, much of it is 12-year-old humor. That is correct. That is definitely correct. Song of Erebon, I've heard great things about, but again, the people that I hear about with GGK are people like Jake Bishop who love pretty much everything. So it's a bit like me saying that something from Robin Hobb is great, or him saying Robin Hobb is great for that matter. Let's see. Yeah, some of it's subtle. Not all of his humor lands for me, but when it lands, it really lands. And Tahol and Bug are definitely for me. Cool. Yeah, we'll have to get you in on that too, Shad. Recommendation. Yeah, so I started it again. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I love the writing in that book. It's fantastic. And I love Simon Preble's narration. I was having a great time. I started it again in November and I was doing great. And then that was when I decided it's time for a Hobb reread, all of it. So that kind of took the place of that. But I will get back to it. It is a great book from what I have read, and I do want to read all of it for sure. What is my skincare routine? Why are you a pretty man? Well, I haven't been described as pretty by anybody, so thank you for that. I don't really have a routine, but I would let you know. Mostly the routine is shave once a week, whether I need it or not. That's kind of the routine. And right now, I definitely need it, but I haven't gotten around to it back yet. Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of cool stuff in what I have read so far of Jonathan Strange, Mr. Norrell. I like the way she writes. Yeah, well, thank you for coming. It's 2 weeks in a row, Chatty. I appreciate you being here. I think probably I'll keep this date and time going forward for the foreseeable future if it works for people. Because I like hanging out and talking to people about fantasy and other stuff, so that's good. Well, again, thank you, Paramita. I super appreciate you joining. Well, I don't know if I'm spoiling anybody, and I'm quickly running out of ideas, but I definitely appreciate it. Thank you for all the support. It means a lot to me. So thanks for doing that. Cool, man. Yeah, thanks, Theo. I appreciate it, man. Well, cool. I think we'll probably wrap up here. Again, I can only thank everybody for all of the support, all of the warm thoughts, and all the great conversation. It means a lot to me that people are interacting and watching my stuff. So thanks for all you do. Well, thanks, man. I super appreciate it. You have a great day as well. And everybody have a great day. I hope you all have an awesome Sunday. And I think I don't have it super planned out, but tomorrow's video for sure will be the books I'm most looking forward to anticipated releases for 2023. So be on the lookout for that. So thanks, everybody. And as always, publication order always, my friends.